Hello, I'm Monica, and we are looking at chapter 104 in basic hypnosis regarding conscious, subconscious, and superconscious. In the hard copy book that I'm looking at is pages 33 through 40.
Hypnotherapy, Volume 1, Course HYP100, Basic Hypnosis, Chapter 104, Conscious, Subconscious, and Superconscious. You have 5 senses through which you perceive and explore the material world. Sight, sound, touch, these are the primary conscious senses. Smell and taste, these are the less consciously used senses. Your mind works as a filter. There is so much going on around you that you only consciously pay attention to the parts you are required to or desire to. There is so much information held in your memory banks that you would go crazy if you had to think about all of it. Therefore, your mind distills the incoming information, clumps information, compares it to what is known, and assigns it relevance and storage need based on what you have decided or been trained is important. As children, we use 1/10 of the brain capacity. What is 100%? The brain is not the mind. The brain can be sliced and put beneath a microscope. The mind is amorphous. It may be that we're only using 1/10 of 1% of our mind capacity. What would happen if we used 100%? When working in hypnosis, we define 3 states of mind to work with: the conscious, the subconscious or unconscious, and the superconscious or collective unconscious. The conscious state correlates with Freud's conscious state, a visible part of the mind, like there is a visible part of an iceberg or an island. The part that can be seen above the water is the conscious mind. The part that is beneath the water and cannot be seen is the unconscious or subconscious state. Hypnosis differs from the Freudian approach with the integration of the superconscious, what can be viewed as the underlying ocean floor, out of which the island rises to peak above the waves. The superconscious is a spiritual aspect of hypnosis, is generally omitted from the medical descriptions of what is and is not hypnosis, with the exception of Jungian collective unconscious. Hypnosis is an easy and effective way to change the subconscious mind, bring clarity to the conscious mind, and enhance communication with the superconscious mind. Anything which promotes or facilitates communication with the subconscious, unconscious, or superconscious is a form of hypnosis. Conscious mind. The conscious mind involves willpower and reasoning. It rationalizes data. It is critical and analytical. It has no capacity for emotions. It judges and compares using polarized thoughts for measurement: hot and cold, wet and dry, light and dark, big and little. This is the critical faculty of the mind. The conscious mind is filled with willpower, logic, shoulds, wants, ought tos. The subconscious mind. The subconscious mind is a powerhouse with 2 distinct purposes. 1, a will to live which supervises the automatic functions of the body. Through this automatic supervisory capacity, you digest food and eliminate waste products automatically. Hair and nails grow automatically. Your heart beats, and you breathe even while sleeping. This could be referred to as the engineering department of the mind. 2, a vast warehouse which serves as a file system filled with everything you have ever experienced or perceived, including emotions, imagination, decisions, habits, and drive. This could be referred to as the secretarial division of the mind. Using the high-speed data bank within you, you automatically review what has worked or failed to work in the past, the decisions you made, and the desired outcome. All this happens automatically and so fast that the conscious mind rarely observes the process. The subconscious is the seat of the imagination. Instead of rationalizing in a linear manner, it is emotional, holographic, uncritical, and faithfully records your perceptions and misperceptions. This is the creative engineering department, the imagination, the studio, the lab, the drive, and the habits. It works automatically and impersonally to achieve or impede goals of success and happiness or unhappiness and failure, depending upon the programming you feed into it. That which you are dwelling upon, both positive and negative, are what you are informing your creative self is important and must be tended to. You are preconditioned by your environment, past experiences, perceptions, and decisions. Every experience, perception, decision, action, and idea is stored in the memory banks of the subconscious. In order to change or modify behavior, the subconscious mind must be presented with ideas and suggestions, alternatives and perspectives that are reasonable, acceptable, and in its best interest. Superconscious mind. The superconscious mind involves processes of interconnectedness, including species memory, instinct, and genetic code. This amorphous aspect of being contains what Jung called the collective unconscious, archetypes, or the collective awareness of a species. The battle between willpower and imagination. When the subconscious, creativity and imagination, and conscious, logic and willpower clash, the subconscious mind always wins. If you decide to consciously hold your breath until you die, you might succeed long enough to pass out, at which time you would automatically start breathing again. Getting the subconscious mind working for you instead of against you is a head start on success. When the willpower and imagination clash, the imagination always wins. Here's an example. Imagine a plank 6 inches wide and 20 feet above the ground, 20 feet long, laying on the ground. You can walk the length of that board easily. Now imagine placing that same plank 40 feet up in the air. Imagine walking across it now. You may find that you are hesitant to cross the board at that height because of an element of uncertainty has entered into the situation. Your imagination has recognized the idea, I might fall. Your willpower might force you to walk across, but the imagination is pushing you not to. If there were additional incentives for you to move across such a long, narrow passage, you might find your imagination fully engaged. If you were in a burning building 40 feet up and a plank were extended to you, you would have a greater desire to cross the plank because the imagination of burning without trying to save yourself would propel you safely across that plank. When you relearn effective access methods for the imagination, you gain greater awareness and control over the inner workings of your mind. The power of thought. The primary job of your mind is protecting you. Your mind will only allow you to do or perceive what it thinks you are strong enough and ready enough to know or do. The universe is made of thought. There is a thinking stuff from which the universe is made. Your thoughts create movement and form in this thinking stuff, bringing into reality those things you dwell upon within your mind. Your thoughts are energy. You produce energy at 100% output, 100% of the time. You choose how to direct that flow of energy with the way you think. Through hypnosis, you gain greater awareness of your intent and greater capacity for choosing the direction and force of your applied energy. Hypnosis occurs when the conscious mind is relaxed enough to allow the flow of energy between the superconscious, the subconscious, and the conscious to be clear. The communication of an acceptable idea, its unconscious acceptance, and the subsequent automatic responses and actions are various phases of the hypnotic phenomena. Matter and energy. There was a time when science broke the known universe into two elements, matter and energy. Then Einstein came along and said there was no such thing as matter, there was only energy vibrating at different frequencies. Bell's theorem today, physicists claim that 99% of the universe is invisible to our perceptions. Memory. Your memory is a registration of ideas. For everything you do, there is a reason, and that reason is created when any two or more ideas are associated. Everything you have learned is stored in your subconscious. Your driving skills involves memories of getting into your car, maneuvering out into the freeway, moving into a continuous flow of traffic, and reaching a consistent speed. Often the body has a memory of what needs to be done, and now the conscious is free. The conscious mind is free because the knowledge required for driving exists in your subconscious. Your conscious mind drifts off, allowing your subconscious mind to become more active. You may become so engrossed in your thoughts that you automatically drive in the direction of your office when your real destination is somewhere else. You may arrive at your destination and wonder how you got there so quickly. When your attention is needed to change lanes, avoid something in the road, stop at a toll gate, or slow for an off-ramp, your conscious mind comes into play again. A hypnotist cannot create a picture in the mind of a subject who has never conceived of that particular picture, word, or idea, or suggestion. By suggestion, the hypnotist illuminates the different frames in which the subject's memory banks. By suggestion, the hypnotist illuminates different frames in the subject's memory banks. When I say, look at this thingamabob, you would not know what it was until I gave more description. When you put it on a flat surface and spin it, it goes round and round like a top. Now you have more information. It is a flat piece of metal with a little indentation and a reflective surface, and it spins for a long time. Now you have a more complete picture. Once I show you this thingamabob, you will understand it even more. When you hold it and spin it and play with it yourself, you have greater comprehension of the limits and capacities of the thingamabob. The next time I mention that flat spinning thingamabob, you have a set of ideas which corresponds to my thingamabob. Be sure you practice the exercises in this program so that you gain experiential awareness of these processes, thereby engaging your own mind in a process of life-affirming growth.
The conscious mind is logical, analytical, judging. This is the critical faculty which we bypass going into the imagination of hypnosis. The subconscious mind, the unconscious, is the emotional part, the secretary or filing department, the engineering and bodily functions, the creativity and imagination. The superconscious, collective unconscious, species consciousness, Jungian archetypes, oneness with the creative intelligence of the universe, synchronicity, and meaningful coincidences. Where imagination and willpower clash or compete, imagination always wins. That's from Emile Coué. And Einstein said, imagination lovers. Let me try that again. Did I just have a Freudian slip talking about Einstein? Imagination discovers. Logic disproves or fails to disprove. And that is the PowerPoint presentation. And I want to look at the questions for this chapter. What is the job of the conscious mind? What is the job of the unconscious or subconscious mind? What is the job of the superconscious or collective unconscious? What is the difference between peripheral and foveal attention? What are the five senses? For the purposes of this training, what is Bell's theorem? What happens when willpower and imagination clash? What is memory? What is monoideaism? The training manual has changed since I recorded it some time ago. Bell's theorem is not so clear in the recording. For the purposes of this training, most of the universe is non-visible, non-local. When two molecules have been connected, even when separated, they change simultaneously and not sequentially despite being apart. Einstein referred to this as spooky actions at a distance. The difference between peripheral and foveal attention, according to Leonardo da Vinci, the foveal attention is the line of sight that draws something to the center of attention. Peripheral attention is at the edge. Attention is always shifting. So, foveal attention, It's right in the center. In the age of Renaissance, depth perception was coming into art, and things up closer were bigger, things in the distance were smaller. Things were centered to draw the eye into a specific area. That's the foveal attention, the center. The stuff at the edges, the peripheral attention, can be big distractions, and many things come from the edges to the center when a drive is there. Listening through and looking through the training manual, there were the parts that I noticed that aren't in the audio because they've been added to. This training manual is constantly growing. One of the areas I found fascinating, some years back, I was in great communication with a former driver to different Indian gurus. He told me that the guru Kirpal Singh said attention is the outward expression of the soul. He didn't say it like that. He said attention is the outward mode of the soul. It made me think about children who are attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. You know, they don't have any trouble locking on to something that's of interest to them. And they have a hard time locking on to anything that's of no interest to them. So is attention deficit a problem for the kid? For the person who is having to lock on to things that they don't prefer? Yeah. And it's hard to pull them off of something they prefer to do something that they really don't want to do. The kid that loves art is not, you know, I hate the math. The kid who says, I love the math, I hate the art. When we try and give a person a broad and general education, overlooking what their interests are, according to Kirpal Singh, we're ignoring the outward expression of the soul for an internal preference. Leonardo da Vinci and his foveal capacity, we're going to be looking at the foveal capacity as we're going into how do we structure suggestions. And that is the end of chapter 104. I hope you have a marvelous day or evening whenever you're listening to this, and I thank you for coming in again. I'll look forward to seeing you in the next sections, which will include chapter 103, signs of hypnosis, chapter 105, the nature of suggestion. Oh, fun. Abreaction, I mentioned it already. We'll have a chapter specifically on that, emerging from trance and inductions. How do we get someone into trance? How do we get them out comfortably? How do we make sure that everybody's safe in their process? Blessings on you, and I will see you again. Thank you for your time. As you go back out into the real world, leaving this video world, back crossing the threshold of the e-world into the real world, may your unconscious minds find new solutions to anything that you need solutions to.